So I'm Shaun Miller, and this is my final project presentation for CSE335. So the project idea I had was ultimately like a wish list specifically tailored to books. So the idea was to help users remember their favorite books and also allow users to store new books. Additionally, it would help users find books to store and get those books stored into the app. It also allows, or it also helps the user find bookstores nearby to buy books, and allow users to search for books and where they might be able to buy those books online. And so overall, the idea was to create a versatile library bookstore of what books interest the user. So here's my class diagram. And so the app starts at the main view controller over here. And so on that main view controller, there are three buttons. There's a view books button, a search button, and a view maps button. So the view books button is going to take you to the view books view controller. That's going to be a table view that displays all the books that are stored in that Firebase. So all those books are going to be displayed with book table view cells, where it'll display a name, an author, and a cover of that book. So to add a book, you'll click on the add button, and it will take you to the add view controller, which will have a text field for a name, a text field for an author, and then a cover for the image or image viewer for the cover. And for the cover, you can either upload the cover from your photo libraries or you can do it from a camera. And then when your user is done adding or filling in all that information, they can click save and it'll take you back to the view books controller and display that new book. The Additionally, when you select one of those book table view cells, it'll take you back to this add view controller with all of that information already filled in for the book you selected. And then it'll let the user freely edit those books. Um, and then when they do click save again, it'll return to that view books controller with the updated view books list with that book now with the new edited information. And from that view controller, you can also delete those books. Um, and so going back to the view controller, the next button would be search. And so that search also has a UI label with it. And so the user can type in some kind of author, title, or genre of books, and it'll take you to the search view controller. So that search view controller is also another table view, and it's going to display the top 10 results of that search. And so that will each of those search results will be a search table view cell. And so they're going to show a summary of that search result and also the title of that search result. So they can get a quick idea of what that search result might have. So when one of those search results is selected, it'll take you to a Safari view controller. That Safari view controller will then open up Safari with the link to whatever the user selected. So if the user would like to buy books or view one of those sites, they can just select it and then open up Safari and take them right to that website. So the last button here is the View Maps. So the View Maps button will open up the Map View controller. And from there, it will take your current location and display all of the bookstores that are in a radius around you. So now on to the MVC diagram. The view is going to be responsible for displaying everything. It's going to display books, bookstores. It'll display those search results, the map, the cover, title, and author of those books, and display all of those table views. So that view is going to communicate with that controller whenever the user does actions like pressing buttons. So if they'd like to save a book, when they click save, controller will handle navigating the user back to the table view. So that controller is going to be responsible from getting view to view, accessing those books, fetching any data it needs, fetching the maps, and handling, saving, and retrieving data from Firebase. And so that controller is going to communicate with the view when the controller has new information to display, like an updated table. And the controller is also going to communicate with the model um, whenever the model or whenever the controller needs to save new information or update a book or delete a book. And so all the changes to any of the book elements are going to happen or are going to start at the controller, and that controller will communicate with the model, and the model will update the Firebase. And so the model is going to be responsible for storing the author name and cover of the books, telling the controller of changes, and providing functionality like adding, editing, and deleting books. So the model is going to communicate with that controller whenever new books are added, deleted, or updated, so that the controller can tell the view to go ahead and update the book list. So if we were to add a book, it would start in the view where it would display those UI text labels in the cover that the user selected. The user would select save. The controller would read in that data, pass it to the model, and the model would then update that Firebase. And then the model is going to tell the controller updated that. So the controller can now update that table view on the view part so the user can see all of those books. So for capabilities of the app allows the users to search for new books. It'll display 10 search results. And it's a Google custom search engine. So it's going to display a title and a quick summary of that site. And it's only going to search sites like Amazon, Goodreads, and other similar sites to that. So when selected, the search results will open the link in Safari within the app. So the user is able to um, not only search for books that might interest them, but search for where they might be able to buy those books. And then within the app, just open Safari and go ahead and buy those books if they look interesting. So additionally, the app's going to allow users to store books. So it's going to permanently store those books using core data. The users can add, edit, and delete those books. Each book has a title, an author, and a cover that are all going to be stored. And the cover can also be uploaded from the camera or from your photo library. And lastly, the app's going to use the user's current location to view bookstores nearby that user. So to help that user find where they might be able to go and buy the books that they're trying to find. So limitations of my app include it cannot take books from the search and store it. So if the user finds a book in the search that they are interested in, they won't be able to just click a button to store that. They will have to write down that information, maybe take a screenshot of the cover, and then take it back to the view books part, and then click the add button and type in all of that information and upload that picture. Another limitation the app has is it can only search at a current location. So it can only, so if you were going to New York in the next day and you were in Phoenix currently, you would only be able to search in Phoenix and not be able to search in New York. It also has a fixed radius. So if you wanted to look at 20 miles away, but the app only goes to 10 miles, there's no way to get around or have a larger radius. So ultimately, if you want to look at different locations of where bookstores might be, you have to be in that different location. And so the last limitation of the app is it's only going to search stores that are primarily bookstores. So it won't search stores like Target or Walmart, even though even though they do sell a lot of books. Since they're not primarily bookstores, they won't show up in those searches. So some possible improvements I could do to the app would be letting the users search at a custom location or with a custom radius. So that way they would be able to find all the bookstores that they might be considering going to, with searching in different cities or different towns, and also searching at wider radiuses from where they currently are. Another possible improvement would be categorizing the storybooks by genre, so letting the users type in what genre or select what genre the books are, and then in the table view, sorting those books by what genre they are in. And that would give it more of a library feel and give it a lot more organization within the view books section of the app. So additionally, I could add a owned element of the book. And so the user would be able to mark if they own the book or not. They add or edit the book, and that would help the user keep track of what books they've already bought and what books they're still trying to find and buy. And so similarly to that, they adding a read element of the book, and so that would help the users know which books they have read and which books they're still working on reading or still want to read in the future. So the last possible improvement would be just UI improvements and just cleaning up the UI and trying to make it more professional, have more of a professional feel. So now on to improvements for class and for the project. So one improvement I have would be more examples of possible class project ideas. So I feel like one of the hardest parts of this project was coming up with the idea, and I just feel like having a few more examples, just one or two more examples of what possible class project ideas could be, would be really beneficial to the class. And so my other suggestion here would be more code run-throughs during class, just having more time to like explain how the code works and how the code is making different parts of the app work, um, and just really like running through the code instead of just showing us kind of the code in the app at the same time. And so that concludes my my final project presentation.